Well, it started off good and then it descended to complete and utter laziness. I'm John Renton with the retro review of WCW Thunder for March 14th, 2001. Four more shows after this, and then I am done reviewing and reliving the last year of WCW from the infamous reboot episode, so almost a year, all the way to Bash at the Beach 2000 and then New Blood Rising, Judy Bagwell on the goddamn forklift, and Russo being sent home and still being paid by WCW even though he didn't deserve a goddamn dime from anybody in the wrestling business. And now we're just left with the frickin' hollowed out husk of WCW. And man, there were so many empty seats, so much pumped in crowd noise. And it's really goddamn sad because you could see they were trying to do some stuff. And there were some talents that were still giving solid efforts. And I remember Greed actually having some pretty good matches, but it was too late. This company was fucking done. And man, it's just going to be bad to, relive the last few episodes, especially the final Nitro, when I still wish that WCW was around to this day. I don't know if it would have been with Bischoff's group, but who knows? Do you think it would have been around? Let me know in the comments, please. But anyway, this is the go-home show for WCW Greed, the last WCW pay-per-view. We get recaps of all the shit on Nitro, like Stacy Keibler returning and reminding us of that terrible, pregnancy angle, and then aligning with Sean Stasiak, so Stasiak, and it was absolutely fucking terrible. And check out my recent Nitro review if you want to know what I thought of the full segment. Trying to relive it right now is making me angry, and I just watched it recently. Shivani and Tanay on commentary, 3 count versus Ray and Kidman, semifinal Cruiserweight Tag Title Tournament match, best match on the show easily, even though Evan Courageous was like a goat on goddamn ice, a 3-legged goat on ice that is. He looked good, he had physical charisma, and he couldn't do anything between the goddamn ropes. It was fucking astounding. But the other 3 worked really goddamn well. Kidman got launched to the floor, we get car crash stuff, dives upon dives, and Ray hit a drop kick off the ropes, and 1, 2, 3. Kidman and Ray advance. And then they're going to face Skipper and Kid Romeo, who attack, and that's just to basically hype up the Greed match that they're going to have. And then we get footage of Alex Wright tipping a table, right on Disco, well, almost on Disco, because he's sick of teaming with him. To be fair, everybody got sick of Disco Inferno. Nobody likes Disco Inferno. If you think you did, you should be considered wrong, because everybody's entitled to their opinion, but your opinion on Disco Inferno is wrong. He's a goddamn idiot and a fucking travesty. To be honest, though, if you like Disco Inferno, fine. We all like different things. I just don't think that he ever belonged in the wrestling business in any capacity. So, DDP comes out through the crowd and talks about facing Scott Steiner at Greed. I'm still standing. Dustin is sent down. Is he going to face DDP? Well, he's not here to do Flair's dirty work. And then suddenly we get footage of Ric Flair being filmed by Buff Bagwell. Not like that, thankfully. And he talks about Scott being off tonight, and they'll face Jarrett and Rick Steiner, in the main event. Oh no, is it real or is it Memorex? And it was on video. It wasn't live, even though it was obvious it wasn't live. Anybody that fucking knew that would have been able to recognize that Jarrett and Rick Steiner were going to attack from behind. So that was just a way to hype up the main event. We then get Jason Jett versus Alex Wright. Yes, Alex Wright, the big old dance, and I can't even do the goddamn dance at all because I suck at dancing. Not that he was that great, but man, I fucking suck at dancing. Somebody's going to gift that, and I'm going to be absolutely ashamed. But anyway, Jet did a cool, what would become the buckshot lariat variation during this match and hit a nice, spin kick, Wright hit a nice spin kick. Jet actually shined pretty damn well here. And Alex Wright was still only in his mid-20s because he got signed to the company when he was 18 years old, and that was in 94, I believe. And he still had something left. Now I guess he went back to Germany after this. Jet fought back and got an X-Plex 1, 2, 3. So Jason Jett gained a victory over Alex Wright, and Alex was upset afterwards. Maybe he expended too much energy flipping that table on Disco. Reminder, everybody should hate Disco Inferno. We cut to Flair and Lex talking about Scott and what happened to Medeja. How do you solve a problem like Medeja? And he says, hey, how about a 4 corners match versus Palumbo and O'Hare? Take one of them out, and then you can beat up the other one, and then you guys can have a free ride to the Tag Team Championships when you face them at Greed. We get a Booker video package, basically to hype up, his return, and facing Rick Steiner at Greed. Stasiak and Stacy are out there to cut a promo, and then Stacy dances, which was the best part of this goddamn thing. Nothing against Stasiak, but he was never going to be anything more than a mid-card act, unfortunately, and they did so many stop-start things with him. In WWE, the whole thing, Meat was not a good gimmick, and the stuff they did with him in WCW should have worked, but they were like, okay, we'll push him, and then we'll pull him back. And then we'll put him in the Thrillers, we'll put him in a tag team, and then we'll kind of just forget about that, and then it didn't really ultimately work. If you don't give a reason for the fans to be invested, nobody's going to be invested in the talent, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent in the ring. And then Stasiak faced off against Reno. This was not good. Reno seemed off, and we get a rude awakening, the neckbreaker 1, 2, 3. And then Bigelow comes down and basically it's to hype up the match he's going to have against Stasiak at Greed. Again, if you can't tell, it's a go-home show for Greed. The announcers hammered it into our heads that this show was happening, which probably was smart because it was the only way they were going to get anybody to actually pay for this. So, Luger and Bagwell versus Palumbo and O'Hare. Well, it was actually a four corners match, but it might as well have been a tag match. This was a goddamn mess. We get an accidental distraction, and Palumbo gets pinned by Luger. Then O'Hare pins Luger after a lame sidekick where Palumbo is still at ringside and throws Luger's foot off the ropes. And then Senton pins Bagwell, and that's it, really, right there. This match, I think, was 6 minutes, and it felt like about 15. It was just so goddamn sloppy. Mainly because Luger, even 2 years prior, could still move. At this point, he was a freaking brick wall, roided out of his goddamn mind. And probably plotting what was going to happen to Liz a couple years later. Yes, I'm still not forgiving Luger for what happened to Liz. Disco wants Sanders as his tag partner, and Sanders is considering it. Maybe not much, but then Flair says, hey, Sanders, you gotta come and unclog a toilet. Okay, Disco, unclogging a toilet is just slightly worse than teaming with you, so I will team with you. Actually, I would have rather unclogged the toilet because you can actually get usefulness out of an unclogged toilet. You can get nothing out of Disco Inferno. If you can't tell, I don't like Disco Inferno. So, we get a package on Dusty and Dustin versus Flair and Jarrett, and then Flair tells Animal, go intimidate somebody, whatever. Animal had the weirdest return. The weirdest goddamn return to WCW. And then once he's gone, Flair says he doesn't trust him. Why the fuck you bring him in then, you goddamn idiot? Then Shane Helms versus Kiwi. It was okay, it was filler, and I don't even know her. And then so many empty seats on the camera side. God fucking damn it. Kiwi, just did a leg drop on the absolutely nobody because it was badly timed. And then Vertebreaker 1, 2, 3. Chavo tries to attack him, but Shane was ready for him this time. And this was to hype up the match they were going to have at Greed. Disco and Sanders versus Conan and Hugh Morris. Fucking hell, no laughing matter 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, it should have been 1, 2, 3, but they decide, hey, we're going to make Disco Inferno tap out. So Disco tapped out to Tequila Sunrise. Storm and Awesome attack from behind, and then we find Animal laid out with somebody spray paint. It wasn't him. Oh no, who is it? I think it was Sting. I'm actually struggling to remember because a lot of this just went out of my head. So I get to revisit it very, very soon. Anyway, Jared Rick Steiner took on DDP and Dustin. It was just more Greed hype. Dustin got the hot tag. We get a ref bump. Flair comes down to make the count, but he gets knocked down by DDP. And a guitar to Dustin, stroke 1, 2, 3. Melee, where I think like the rest of Team Canada, Palumbo and O'Hare, totally buff. And just everybody get in here. It was a Harvey Birdman episode, and that was it. And that's really all I got to say about that. The sad thing is the first two matches actually weren't that bad. The unfortunate thing is the rest of the show is just fucking lazy. Man, you could tell this company was pretty much done. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.